So I've been watching The Last of Us, and honestly, I had no expectations for the show. I love the game. I just replayed the game. Actually, I knew the show was coming out, and the day it came out, I decided, hey, I'm gonna replay it. And I just spent a couple days, not even a couple days. I spent one and a half days and just grinded the full game out. One of my favorite games, and so I had no expectations for the show because every video game adaptation is always horrible. I've never watched one that I genuinely really loved, but let me tell you, I think making this into a show instead of a movie really helps it because you could just spend more time on characters and stories, and there's only 3 episodes out right now. And the third episode introduces Bill, played by Nick Offerman. It introduces Bill and Frank, and man, they change it up a little bit. And I know some people are not gonna like what they did with them. They're gonna say that it's woke or whatever. But honestly, I really loved it. I really loved that episode. I thought it was so emotional. I thought it was heartbreaking. I thought it was really great. If you like the Last of Us game, you need to watch the show. It truly is just really, really, really great so far. And hopefully it stays great. It'd be a real shame if it, takes a hard left turn and becomes a terrible show just like all the other video game adaptations. But anyway, welcome to a brand new episode of The Pull List, a weekly comic book podcast where we talk about the brand new releases that come out every week. And this was a very short week. Not in length, but a very, very small week for comic books. I only picked up 2 comics, and I'm really struggling to figure out how to do this episode because the 2 comics I picked up, I'm gonna, talk about them really quick, but there is some really, really crazy news that just dropped. James Gunn just dropped the entire next DC movie slate for the next couple years, and I really want to talk about that. So I don't know if I want to talk about the comics first or the DC news first. I know this podcast is usually for the comics, but I think the comics are going to take a back seat because there's just not a lot to talk about. So we're going to talk about the comics first. 2 Marvel books. We got I was going to say Dark Crisis. We got Dark Web, the finale, and we got Silver Surfer Ghostlight #1. So, okay. I'm going to talk about Silver Surfer Ghostlight #1. This book is written by John Jennings and art by Valentine D. Landro. And, okay, I love the Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer is one of my probably top 5 favorite Marvel comic characters ever. I love him. I think he looks cool. I love his powers. I just love his whole, I don't know, just characterization, I guess. And I was so excited to read a brand new Silver Surfer run. I don't think this book was bad. I wouldn't say it was bad at all. I actually enjoyed it, but I am a little disappointed because this isn't really a Silver Surfer book. He's in 2 pages of this entire book. This book follows this family, most importantly, this little girl, and they move into a new house. I think the mom's brother recently died, so they moved into his house. And the little girl, I forget her name already, but the girl, she's really upset that they moved away from her old life, her old friends, and everything. She's gonna feel like an outcast at school. She's really upset. Normal kid stuff. And her brother loves jazz, which I think is really fun. I actually really like the little brother in this. And the girl is having these dreams of this Shining Man, this green, almost, if you guys know what Dr. Phosphorus in DC looks like, it looks just like him. And she has these dreams every night, and it's the same dream, and she doesn't know what it is. And, long story short, it has something to do with the brother, and Silver Surfer knows the brother and gets involved. It's really weird. And it almost would have been better if you just called it something else. I don't know if it works as a Silver Surfer book so far, but I'm definitely going to keep reading because I thought the art was great. I really enjoyed it. I thought I thought the colors were really great. And I like the characters. I like the family. I think it's a very, they feel like a real family. I like the brother and the sister's dynamic. The grandma is a character in this, and she's fun. Um, I just wish there was a little more Silver Surfer, but I understand, like, we've gotten Silver Surfer before. We've read books with him in it, and this is introducing new characters, this whole new family, so we want to spend more time with them. I understand that. I'm very interested in the brother, or the mother's brother. His name is Al. His whole deal. It's very intriguing. It is definitely an intriguing first issue, but I am a little disappointed. But that's not going to stop me from reading the rest of it. All right, it's time. It is time to talk about Dark Web, the finale. Guys, I cannot tell you how happy I am that this book is over. It has been a wild ride. A wild and stupid and confusing and silly, and it, the end is here. The finale has come out and I read it, and it is not a good ending. It is not a good end. It is a bad ending to a bad story. Honestly, now I can just vent about all my problems with this. So, because I'm never going to have to talk about it again. I did not like the story at all. I think Madeline Pryor and Ben Riley teaming up is really stupid. They're clones and they're bad. So they team up. That sucks. That's a dumb story. That is a story that just screams, we got no more ideas. Like, it is just, it's abysmal. It is an abysmal story. And just, I would say, probably one of the worst Marvel comic events in the last couple of years. I think it's really bad. The art in this book was good. And I'm just specifically talking about the finale here. Even though the art through all the tie-ins and everything has been pretty solid, the art in this book was very good. But the story, the characters, Madeline Pryor's little switch, how she doesn't want to be the villain anymore in the last issue, is just, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing really redeemable about this book. And there's a part in it where they do a little self-aware thing where Spider-Man makes fun of Ben Riley's plan, and Madeline Pryor is like, yeah, that was kind of a dumb plan. Like, you know it's dumb, Zeb Wells. Everybody in on this book knows that it's not good. But they're still writing it. And if they really do think that it's a good story, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry for constantly, just ruthlessly talking about how much I do not like this book, but I'm not going to give false information. I can't say I enjoyed it. It's just not great. The art is fun. Seeing Spider-Man and the X-Men work together is fun. Seeing Madeline Pryor again is cool. But overall, it feels like a lazy crossover event, and I I don't really even know why they did it. Like, was it just to bring Ben Riley back? Was it just for one thing they set up at the end, which I'm not going to spoil, but it's dumb. It's dumb. And I feel so bad because I hate to be negative, and usually I'm only negative about this book. But that's how it is. So, oh, both of these books were $4.99, by the way. Um, and both by Marvel. So, that's all I'm going to say about Dark Web. Finally, I can stop talking about it and we can talk about more books that make me happy. Not today though, because that's all I read. But instead, we're going to talk about what James Gunn's new plan for DC, his whole slate for the next couple of years. And boy, I am just over the moon. I am so excited for what he's been cooking up. So, let's talk about it. So James Gunn gave a whole bunch of upcoming projects, animated and live action, TV shows, movies, just a whole bunch of stuff, and it all sounds just so cool. Especially if you're like a fan of, well, obviously DC Comics, but some lesser known characters. And we're going to talk about that in a second. I have a full list right here, and I'm not going to talk about every single thing in depth, just the things that I'm really excited about. But I will say, the majority of everything that has been announced, I am super excited about. So the first thing I want to talk about is Superman Legacy. This is the Superman movie James Gunn is writing and directing, or well, he might be directing it, but he's probably going to direct it. I am so excited. I have full faith in James Gunn for just making a Superman movie that totally understands the character, that brings the lightheartedness with the wholesome Superman that we deserve in live action, that we haven't gotten since Christopher Reeves' Superman. Maybe Brandon Routh's Superman, but still, like I'm excited to see a genuinely great Superman movie that understands the character. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I love what he was doing. I just have problems with Zack Snyder's characterization of Superman, and I do wish Henry Cavill would come back, but I know it's just not in James Gunn's plans. And he's crafting a new universe. So we just we just gotta hope that he gets someone perfect for the role of Superman. He said this will not be an origin story, but it will be about Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Perfect. I'm so excited, and it's coming out July 11th of 2025. So it is 2 years away, actually, which is still a long time. But like, here's the thing: like everyone is complaining that it is going to take 2 to 3 years for even the first movie in this new DC lineup to come out. But people need to realize that's how movies are made. Movies take a long time. Like the MCU has everybody brainwashed into believing that you can make 8 movies and like 5 TV shows a year. But then like everybody says that Marvel has been overextending themselves, that every project that comes out feels rushed, that they need to take more time with the projects they're making, and when DC says they're going to take more time with the projects they're making, everyone's like, no, we want them now. So do you want a bad movie now or a fantastic movie in 2 years? It like everyone is just ridiculous. It is hypocrisy at its like highest. It is crazy to me how people are thinking. Like, I will personally wait however long it takes to get a perfect Superman movie. As long as it's the best Superman movie that I have ever seen. But anyway, let's move on. Superman Legacy 2025. I'm very excited. Something else I'm super excited for is Lanterns. This will be an HBO Max TV show that is following Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in kind of like a True Detective space drama action show. That is so cool. That is so cool. I am so excited to see Jon Stewart. And he's always been my favorite Green Lantern, and finally getting to see him in live action is so cool. I know we were gonna see him in the Snyder Cut, but we didn't. We got Martian Manhunter instead, which is still cool, but I am just so excited to finally see Green Lantern or Green Lanterns in live action again. So I'm super excited. There's no release date on that yet, but you know, in a couple years probably. Now this one is very interesting to me because they also announced the Batman Part 2, which will be coming out October 3rd of 2025. And like we all knew it was coming. Matt Reeves is working on a brand new Batman movie. I'm really interested to see who the villain is. I'm hoping for Scarecrow or Hugo Strange. I don't really know who the villain's gonna be, but I hope it's someone cool. But they also announced another Batman movie, and this Batman movie will be titled The Brave and the Bold, and will obviously follow Batman, and it will introduce Damian Wayne. That's crazy. They're going to be following the Grant Morrison series. That's so cool. That is so cool. And just like the idea that they're bringing Damian in my head means that there already is a Bat family. Because I don't think James Gunn is just going to skip Dick and Tim and Jason and Batgirl and just go straight to Damian. I think the Bat Family is going to be in this movie, and that is so cool because we've never seen the Bat Family in live action. We've only seen Dick Grayson in two movies and the '60s TV show, and we also got to see Batgirl and Batman and Robin, and we got to see John Paul Valley, or not John Paul Valley, just John Blake or whatever his name was in Dark Knight Rises. Like we've never seen. Oh, and Titans, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. I forgot about them, but that's not live. Like it is live action, but it's not a movie, and it's not a great representation of the Bat Family either in Titans. Even though I don't think the show is as bad as it used to be, I still don't think it's that great. But I'm just so excited about The Brave and the Bold. I can't wait to see who James Gunn casts as Batman and Damian and Dick and Tim and everybody. Like I don't even need to see Tim and Jason and Barbara and all of them. I just want to know that they're around, you know? Like that'll just be enough for me. And like I want to know what parts of the Grant Morrison run that they're going to use. Like no doubt the first arc, Batman and Son. But who knows? Maybe there could be a little Batman R.I.P. I know James Gunn has like a soft spot for Batmite, and Batmite does show up in Batman R.I.P. So like that could be really crazy. But anyway, I'm gushing over this idea. Also, I should mention that James Gunn announced movies like The Batman and its sequel and the Joker movie are in the DC Elseworlds. That is like their little out of continuity line that they're doing, which is cool. It's from the comics. I think that's a cool, unique idea. He also announced a show, Waller, which will be all about Amanda Waller, which I think is very interesting. Viola Davis will come back. I think that's very cool, very interesting idea. But James Gunn likes Peacemaker. He likes the Suicide Squad. He likes Amanda Waller. So like, let him have it. Let him have fun with whatever he wants to do. He could do whatever he wants, and I'm gonna watch it. Other shows like Paradise Lost, which will follow the Amazonians on Themyscira or Paradise Island. That's very cool. I think that will be live action or animated. I don't know. But an animated show they're doing is Creature Commandos, which I don't know anything about. But the animation looks cool. The characters look cool and unique. I'm super excited for it. And then this one was a real shock to me because I don't know, I just didn't expect it. And that is The Authority, a movie based on The Team. And The Authority are not personally one of my favorite characters. They used to be part of the Wildstorm universe, I believe, and then they were folded into main DC continuity. But it's kind of like The Boys. If you know The Boys, just like taking the Justice League and then, making them a little different. So instead of Superman, you got Homelander and he's evil. And The Authority is kind of like the same deal. Instead of Superman, you got Apollo. Instead of Batman, you got Midnighter. And you know what? Cool. But I think it's really weird to introduce them into the same universe as Batman and Superman. And I know Superman has met The Authority, especially recently. But I want to see how that works in live action. I'm very interested in it. A Supergirl movie titled Woman of Tomorrow, which will take heavy inspiration from the new Tom King book. I haven't read that miniseries, but I've heard so many good things about it, and I really want to. I'm excited to see Supergirl in live action. That's kind of all I can really say about it, but I'm very excited. But the two things that I am super excited and just didn't expect at all, these two are my personal favorite ones. And these are also the two that are getting the most hate on the internet right now, especially TikTok, and that is Booster Gold and Swamp Thing. Booster Gold is one of my favorite characters in all of DC Comics. I think he's just such a unique and interesting character. This guy from the future comes back to the past to become a superhero, to become famous. That is so selfish and kind of horrible, but then he joins the Justice League International and he becomes friends with Blue Beetle, and he's like this charming and silly guy, and this could be such an amazing TV show. And I have so much faith in James Gunn because honestly, I know he said that he wants to bring over some of the MCU actors, and I don't know who I would cast as Booster Gold. I have a few ideas. I think Sean William Scott would be a great Booster Gold, but I have a feeling that Chris Pratt is going to play Booster Gold, and honestly, that's kind of perfect. I think Chris Pratt could do a really great Booster Gold. Um, and also, the Blue Beetle movie is coming out way before these movies. It's coming out this year, actually. And they're introducing the villain of that movie is going to be Victoria Cord, which is a character completely made up for the movie and is going to be folded into the comics, and is the sister of Ted Cord, the original Blue Beetle. Well, not the original Blue Beetle, but the Blue Beetle everybody knows before Jaime Reyes. And I really hope they don't kill Ted Cord in the Blue Beetle movie, because Ted Cord just has this history of dying, and that's kind of all anyone really thinks about when you bring up the original Blue Beetle, and it sucks. I do not want Ted to die. I want him to put on the Blue Beetle costume. I want him to team up with Booster Gold. Like, please, just give that to me. Just give me a blue and gold movie. Or just have them do fun stuff in the Booster Gold show. I don't care. I just want it to be fun. I just want it to be cool. But then the last thing is Swamp Thing, and this will be a horror film. And what? That is so cool. People who aren't excited about this just don't understand. They just don't know how important Swamp Thing is to not just DC continuity, but just to DC fans. Swamp Thing, saying who cares about Swamp Thing is like saying who cares about Air. Because Swamp Thing is a phenomenal character, written by one of the best authors of all times, with one of the best comic series of all times. Like, he is a phenomenal character. And he already got a TV show once, and people say, well, that failed, so why are we doing it again? First of all, it didn't fail. It was a phenomenal show. It was really great. They just canceled it because of wherever they were filming, they had problems. It wasn't like the reason the show failed wasn't because of the cast, wasn't because of the acting or the writing or just the reception of it. It was just because of their filming laws or wherever they were filming. I don't know. It's kind of complicated and weird, but it is great to finally have Swamp Thing in a movie because, first of all, who cares about Man Thing, right? Man Thing just showed up in Werewolf by Night, and everybody loves him. Now, just imagine if Man Thing was a little more interesting. Then you have Swamp Thing. Like, I love Man Thing, no shade to him, but Swamp Thing is just a much more interesting character. But yeah, so that is everything James Gunn announced. I think that's everything. I don't know if I'm missing anything. But yeah, I actually think this is the longest video so far, and we've spent more time talking about James Gunn's announcement than the actual comics. So this is the part of the show where I'm going to recommend comics that come out next week and tell you if I'm going to pick them up or skip them. Actually, I don't tell you if I'm going to pick them up or skip them. These are all books that I am going to pick up. So let's do that now. Okay, we actually have a pretty stacked week next week. So these are all comics for the week of February 8th. And so starting off, we got Batman number 132 by Chip Zdarsky, and I'm excited. I've been enjoying Batman so far by him, so I'm definitely going to pick this one up, obviously. It is $4.99. I was going to say $14.99. It is $4.99, and I'm excited. Speaking of Chip Zdarsky, we got Daredevil number 8. This book is $3.99, and you all know how I feel about Daredevil. It is phenomenal. I cannot wait to see where this is going, so you already know that I'm going to pick it up. Also, the cover for this one is sick. Anyway, next up we got Joe Fixit number 2. This book is also $3.99, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. It looks like Joe Fixit and Spider-Man are fighting the Kingpin. It looks really, it's fun. It's a fun book so far. Next, for some X-Men stuff, we got Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants, number 1, and this book is $3.99. And after Sins of Sinister, I'm just so excited for every tie-in and spin-off that's coming out. So you already know I'm picking this one up. The Amazing Spider-Man number 19 is $3.99, and finally, Zeb Wells is gone and Joe Kelly is in. This book looks really cool. I don't know who's doing the art. Oh, Terry Dodson on art? That's cool. This is shaping up to be a really great book. It looks, on the cover at least, unless the cover's lying, it looks like Spider-Man and Black Cat are beating up ninjas. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to read that. And the final thing is The Avengers War Across Time #2. This book is $3.99, written by Paul Levitz and drawn by Alan Davis. And yeah, I really enjoyed the first issue. It had a lot to do with Kang, of course, because Kang is going to be in the MCU now. And yeah, so I'm definitely going to pick this one up. And I think next week is looking to be a pretty solid week. I'm very excited for The Amazing Spider-Man #19. I'm really hoping that I am going to enjoy it more than I have been. So, we can only hope. But thank you all so much for watching this episode of The Pull List. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next Sunday.